up, guys? Welcome to local band Smokeout. Any genre from anywhere in the entire world. I want to hear your music.
All right, now we're ready to go. Ladies and gentlemen, one more time. Michael Skaggs, I like color.
Give me a hell yeah.
Yes. Dude, I appreciate you taking some time out of your busy schedule to do this. And what's funny is when I was checking Facebook story, it was either Facebook story or Instagram story, and all I saw was like nugs and nugs and nugs for days going on your channel. And I was like, bro, I didn't even realize. Yeah, flip it one more this way. Bam.
Oh my God.
Perfect. Yeah, and I was like, I didn't know that you were this much of a stoner. Can you let's just break first, please plug and promote anything and everything, and then we'll dive into all the questions that I have. But let's promote some stuff first.
Sure. My name is Michael Skaggs. I'm the frontman of the band Outline in Color, as you can see on the screen above or below, or however it is on your viewing platform. And I'm a co-owner of Washers, which is a solventless hash company in Oklahoma.
That's one of the questions I want to start with. So how did you even come up with Washers? How did you meet your business partner? Like, was this from like old stony homie buddies that you guys just brainstormed one day and came up with a genius idea?
Yeah, I mean, kind of. Basically, my business partner, John, we've known each other for a number of years at this point. We met when we were both living in Colorado, and we kind of became like snowboard friends, stoner friends, I guess you could say. And we kind of knew each other while we were both living in Colorado. At a certain point, I moved out of Colorado, and he moved back to Oklahoma, where I ultimately came back to as well. So when I came back to Oklahoma, we started hanging out together, and it kind of just started as like a pipe dream, you know, just hanging out, smoking, and talking about wouldn't it be cool if, and yeah, we just kind of took a big risk and put in a lot of hard work, and it's just kind of started to pay off a little bit.
Is it hard to balance all the touring and recording, or is that where your partner comes in when you're on the road? He handles the day-to-day stuff.
Yeah, I mean, we have like an ebb and flow kind of relationship, and I kind of have a similar thing, like a yin yang with music, I guess, where like, you know, and no matter what work is, eventually you're gonna feel like some degree of burnout if you put everything into it every day. And you know, when I'm feeling that kind of way about work, music kind of fills my cup. And in the same way, touring can be like a lot, you know, it can put a lot of weight on your body and your mind. And when you hit that burnout point with touring, or when I hit that burnout point with touring, I'm like ready to go back to work and start creating again. And there's really kind of like an artistry to the specific niche of like hash that we're into, and that kind of like sustains me a bit as an artist as well, I think.
Speaking of touring, we love Hanabi, Left to Suffer, Nightlife, all the bands that you've been hanging out with lately. Tell us some fun touring stories of when you got to hang out with all of them.
Oh man, shoot, touring stories.
I don't know, like did you guys do any pranks? Like, did you prank Hanabi at all or anything? Or
I wouldn't say prank, but like, there was this one night, you know, they speak a little bit of English, but like not very much. And we brought our videographer, King Zab, shout out King Zab, who knows a bit of Japanese. And he kind of helped us to kind of meet in the middle a little bit. And we had this one night where they insisted after a show that we all hang out at the venue and have some drinks with them. And at first it was like really awkward because nobody could really communicate, and then everybody got a couple drinks in them, and they started getting a little bit more like ballsy with the communicators, like the translators and whatnot. And it was really cool. Like we barely spoke each other's language. Like I don't speak any Japanese. It was a really cool kind of thing. But man, you're really putting me on the spot here. Stories. Man. Well, all of the bands that you mentioned are amazing.
We agree.
Nightlife. Yeah, they're great. They're really great people as well. Touring with all of them was like incredible. It's crazy that we've been a band for such a long time, and this year was like arguably like one of our most insane years for touring.
When you look back on Outline's career and you think like I think Another Nightmare was probably the first song I ever heard from you guys, all the way up to now. How have you grown individually as vocalists? Because you started off as the bassist, correct, and then transitioned into full-time vocals, correctly? Is that correct?
First keyboards, then bass, and then into vocals. Yeah, dude, it's been really crazy. I'd be lying if I said a part of me, or at least, or a very big part of me, has always wanted to be the vocalist for a project. There were always like side projects and little covers and things that I did on the side back in the day, but it's been a really cool thing. Somewhere along the line, I was a part of a DJ group that kind of had a little bit of notoriety in the nightclub scene, and I got the opportunity to perform in front of some like crowds that I had never seen before.
What genre were you DJing?
The name of the group was Caked Up, and they were like a trap twerk like remix of like popular like top 40 and meme culture like kind of things. But we got to do some shows with like Migos and like Lil Uzi Vert and some mainstream stuff. And I got to perform in front of crowds that like I had never seen before. This was like while I was still playing bass for Outline. And performing in a DJ group is like way different than performing in a post-hardcore metalcore group. And there's also like a lot of alcohol involved with like the people that attend those events and whatnot. And long story short, just like basically being a goofball in front of like tons of people kind of broke that part of my like insecurity of like just like being out in front of the band. And when the opportunity presented itself to step up, like it was definitely an adjustment period. Like the first couple tours were really scary, and I was like pretty much getting sick to my stomach every night before we performed.
Because of the like the size of the crowds, like that, it was a little bit like nerve-wracking.
Not even like the size of the crowds. I mean, to be honest, like the first couple tours that we did were not like that big. I mean, there were a few shows that were sizable, but like far and large, like we were playing like 100 people or less crowds. But even still, like the first couple tours were a little rough, stepping into that like confidence and whatever. But those experiences of just kind of like letting go in front of big drunk DJ crowds kind of like gave me, I don't know, a little bit more battery in my back. You know what I mean?
I totally feel it. I feel it. They're all fucked up, so you can just wild out and just be natural and do your thing. And I feel
exactly.
I totally feel it.
I tried out all the dumb shit.
If we're allowed to talk about this, do you have like a grow setup or anything going on that you can explain to this like cannabis community that may see this? I know sometimes that's...
I have like a few plants in my house. Man, it's just really weird holding my phone sideways, and this might be kind of tough. But I can totally explain like what it is we do and well,
first, are you a sativa or indica guy? Like, what's your natural go-to?
I mean, like if we're talking on those terms, I'd definitely be like an indica guy for sure. But in my specific like industry, we're kind of like everything is hybridized like beyond sativa and indica. It's like more about other compounds that are present in weed and concentrates and stuff like that.
Cool. I dig it. How have you guys evolved as far as how you write a song from scratch? Being that you've been in a band for so long, I imagine like the process of writing or creating may differ from different from producer to producer, or if the band's just got time off and you just have shit you just want to get off your chest. How do you guys create a song from scratch?
Yeah, awesome question. We've being a band as long as we have, we've kind of got to dip our toes in like all different kinds of songwriting environments and situations, and worked with a number of songwriters and producers as well. And it's kind of crazy after all these years, like we've kind of found that we kind of like keeping it really close to the vest. Producers are really cool for a producing role and like taking songs that are written to the next level. But we've kind of gotten away from the go to a songwriter, producer, like to go do the entire conceptualization of an entire song model that a lot of our peers have been doing. We've kind of gotten back to basics, and we just kind of write internally. We've actually even had like some ex-members come and like write with us, and that's been kind of a cool experience as well.
Interesting.
We have recently found a producer that is local in Tulsa that somehow we never knew existed, but he works with like Silent Planet and like Currents and Gideon.
Oh, it's
and
the perfect guy
we
to discover in Tulsa.
we came as Romans, like, yeah, and he literally lives like 15 minutes away from me. It's crazy. But I met him at a Silent Planet show backstage, and he was just like, oh man, like I know your band, and like I know we had a couple of mutual friends, and he was just like, I'm kind of weird, like I like to find my own way to people. I don't like people making the connection for me. I like to just meet people naturally and see where it takes me. And we've recently started taking some of the songs that we've written just within the band and like going to him and kind of like doing like what we just talked about, like going to a producer and producing that song and taking it to the next level. And I'm pretty excited about that. Like he's kind of really helped us take the tone of the music, the melody of the music, and like the lyrical content, and like really make them come together. Where I feel like in the past, like whether it be the band or myself, we've just kind of like written over or under each other, and now we're kind of finding a way to like really come together and like make a statement together. Like it's really cool to me. I'm really excited about it. We have a few songs that we're like kind of putting the last touches on
That's such
right now, and
it's such like a magical way to meet somebody. He sounds like a believer in like the universe tells like gives his day to day. Like if you discover somebody like that, I don't know, it just seems like a cool story to find the perfect guy. Regarding the process of working on a song, do you kind of still oversee the synths and bass section of the music, or do you leave that to a different band member even though they're playing it live? Like, do you go in and lay down those tracks?
not as much. But like all of the songs that we're working on right now started out as like little projects that I made on my computer. And they're like the way that I produce is like it's nothing that I'd want to show any of our fans. It's very like rudimentary, basic songwriting. But like I'll choose sounds, or I'll write riffs or like whatever that will influence what like the rest of the guys kind of take that idea that I make and help me like turn it into like a full band production where everybody's involved and everybody brings something to the table instead of like my just like off the top of my head idea.
I feel you bring them like an 8-bit and then it turns into like a PlayStation 5 by the end.
That's not a terrible analogy.
Do you remember what we did last time for trivia? I didn't go back and look, but I don't recall what you picked for trivia last time. It would have been either your favorite movie or TV show of all time. That if I look up trivia on this movie or TV show, there's no way I could stump you.
Fuck. Oh man, I don't know that I'm that comprehensive on anything. I will say like King of the Hill, American Dad, and Futurama are like shows that I've like for years at a time fallen asleep to. So I feel like I've seen every episode and maybe slept to every episode.
King of the Hill
So that
could work. King of the Hill.
King of the Hill could work.
King of
I
the
would
Hill could work.
imagine that last time I picked the same because I don't, movies are weird. I prefer 20 to 30-minute increments of like a story. Usually, my girlfriend's actually really into movies, and she's been taking me to more movies, and it's growing on me.
Cool. What's your least favorite way to smoke? Edibles,
Oh man,
dabs.
probably just like a dry pipe, like flower in a dry pipe.
Like an old fashioned high school hand pipe. Yeah,
Yeah.
that shit is whack. I agree with
Yeah,
you. Whack.
we're past that. It's 2025, guys.
Well, all right. This one's gonna be like a pretty dramatic question, and I need some time, so stall with me for a second because I gotta look up some King of the Hill trivia. But between Broken Records, Standby Records, Stay Sick, and now Thriller, is there any advice you could give to a local band that would see this of why they should avoid one of the labels I just mentioned?
Well, one of those was just like a label that we kind of used and stuck on stuff that we released. That's just us. There's nothing. There's not a real label there.
So don't do that one.
Standby is no longer a label anymore. And while we had a tumultuous relationship, they did the right thing in the end.
Standby?
And yeah, they gave us our masters back, and we came like full circle on.
I've
whole thing.
heard horror stories about Neil, so that's why I wasn't expecting that.
He's all right in my book.
Cool.
We're good now.
That's cool. And then my bad. Stay Sick was all good.
Yeah, that was just like a thing we did for a side project, Shameful, and it was just like a one-off release. Mike Milford at the time was still with the label, and he was a guy that we had a pretty strong relationship with, and he resonated with the music. So he really just gave us like a really artist-friendly deal, and I mean that we didn't get on any tours or like we didn't have any crazy success or anything, but like they did everything that they said. They paid for the music video that they were obligated to pay for, and yeah, it was a good experience overall.
That's cool. I have the trivia question ready, but were you able to grab either hot sauce or brewski?
Yes. Hold on, I got you.
Tell me how hot it is, and I'll equal you Scoville wise.
Oh man, it's just Tapatio, dude. It's not crazy hot.
That's cool. I'll go habanero level 12, which is not really a level 12. It's really like a level 3. It's just it's misleading. So this is your king of the.
I'm scared for this part.
This is your King of the Hill trivia.
All right.
In King of the Hill, how many men does Cotton claim to have killed in World War II?
He killed 50 men.
That is correct!
Give me a hell yeah!
That is correct! He killed 50 men! You're better at this than you thought.
I guess so.
All right, I'm
Not.
I am suffering. Yo, tell me a merch idea you maybe had once for the band that the rest of the band was like, this is the stupidest merch idea ever.
All of the farmhouse metalcore stuff that we've released over like the last 2 years, that's been awesome.
They hated it? They didn't like any of those?
It really was just like we were ordering merch for a tour and we were low on designs and low on ideas, and that was an idea I had in my back of my head for a while. And I was just like, hey guys, I'm just gonna do this, and they were like, whatever, all right, fine. And then it ended up being like a really big seller for us, so we've kind of like elaborated on that on tours since then. But I've had a lot of crazy ideas. One of our managers really wants us to do overalls.
What?
Yeah,
Okay.
just like really, really going in with the farmhouse metalcore thing and just having overalls. I don't know if I can sell that one to the band though.
I mean, if they move, then it was a great idea. If they move, it
Right?
was a
We
great
we
idea.
uh we we did make these like little chicken plushies this year, and they crushed. Like we weren't sure if they would work, and like they did so good for us, especially on the Hanabi tour. The girls in Hanabi would take one of them on stage every night and just kind of like wave it around, and we after the show they would just be selling them up.
Hell yeah, that's awesome. They helped move them for you. What do you
Yeah,
guys
it was
got on
great.
your, or you personally like have on your bucket list for 2025? Like maybe a place you've never played before. You want the business to grow. You want
Yeah.
the band to grow. Like what's some goals you guys got mapped out?
I want to put out all this music. We're kind of like at a place in our like a moment in our career where we kind of are cognizant of the fact that like we kind of need to like make some more waves. It's been a minute since we've like released some music and like created some traction for ourselves. So I'm excited to release the music that we've been working on. It seemed like when we started it that it would be out like last year, but like we really have just like put a lot into it, and that's one of the things that I'm really excited about. But we played this festival in Mexico a couple of months ago, and it was like the most insane thing that we've ever done. Like,
What was the name
we've
of the
never been
festival?
like, we missed ourselves.
Okay.
It was with like Falling in Reverse and Bless the Fall and Fit for a King and like Bayside and not
So it's
Emery.
like a Mexican Warp Tour.
Yeah, basically,
That's fucking
yeah.
awesome.
It was like there was like 15 bands or 14 bands or I think it was like actually I'm exaggerating. I think it was like 10 bands, and it was one stage like, and it was in the Mexico one of the Mexico Olympic facilities. They had like repurposed it to be a like kind of like a coliseum of sorts, and there was 8,000 people there. It was like that definitely the biggest crowd we've ever played to, and like the warmest reception we've ever had. Like every time we went into the crowd, like people were just like running up and asking for photos, and it's crazy, unlike anything we've ever experienced. And we
That's
got to
awesome.
play a club show there while we were there as well. That was really cool. But I'd love to go back to Mexico again. That festival has been hinting that they're going to have a Brazil date this year as well, and it would be crazy to be able to play both of those.
That is wild. Let's see if you really have
Uh,
seen King of the Hill as many times as you say. So in King of the Hill, Hank has a chance to throw a football through a hole in a giant beer can at an NFL game. What are the two
yeah.
teams playing?
Oh fuck, dude! I'm out, dude.
Just randomly guess. It's two actual NFL teams. He said, "Fuck it." It's
No.
the Cowboys and the Saints. You're a good sport, though. You're a good sport.
So not to be a bad sport, but one thing that I'm just like totally dumb on is sport ball. Anything sports, like there's no way I'm gonna get it. If you would have asked me if he made that shot or didn't make that shot, I could have told you. But I remember that episode. But like no way I could
You have
guessed
no
that.
sports teams whatsoever.
Pretty much no. There's like a handful that made like a weird dent on me, like as a child, like the Dallas Cowboys, and like there's a handful that like I'm familiar with, but I just
The
don't know.
Cowboys were one of the two that played in that game, by the way.
Nah, that's crazy. Even still, I wouldn't have got both. That's funny though. If I would have just fired off, I would have got one.
This is kind of I don't know if this is a difficult question, but when Grimes rejoined, was that a difficult time for the band?
You know, it was actually it was a really cool time for the band because when we parted with Casey, it was like not something that we really necessarily wanted to do. It was just something that we had to do at the time, and finding a replacement for him was like definitely not a easy task. He was a very talented musician and a really really talented vocalist. so we were trying out a lot of people, and we had, we had come up with like a handful of candidates, but they were all a big departure from what we had empirically put out as a band. And I just happened to catch John at a show one night and talk to him about the possibility of rejoining the band. And it had always been something that he had kind of thought about in the back of his mind, like if he ever got the opportunity that he would want to take it. And when he was willing to rejoin the band, it was almost kind of like, at least at the time, it was like kind of like a Cinderella story, because he was our original singer, and like the best possible move I felt at the time for the band, like as an entity moving forward, would be to bring in the original singer of the band to move forward. That just seemed like something that our fans would be able to digest easier at the time. It turned out to be like, there were of course people that, didn't embrace the change, but like overall it was like an easier transition, I think.
It's such an unusual story like that. The singer then gets moved to guitar player or bassist, and you guys swap. Like, it's such an unusual story, but it all ended up working out the best way that it should have worked out. And now you've met the most magical, awesome producer 15 minutes away, stone's throw away. I envisioned awesome things for you guys, Skaggs, and I appreciate you, bro. Just partying with me today, letting us pick your brain a little bit, talking a little bit of weed. Just God bless you, man. Thank you for hanging out with us today. It was a lot of fun.
No problem, man. Anytime, dude.
Anything you wanna that we didn't touch base on? Maybe there's the single mapped out to drop a certain day, promote. Maybe not time for that yet, or anything you just want to promote before we call it a day.
We're just not quite there. There's like one more session on this last single before we can really put a date on it. We had kind of like anticipated around Valentine's Day, but it might be a little bit later than that. But once music starts coming out, we got a lot more coming. If you're in Oklahoma and you have a medical card, check out Washers. We're in 50 to 70 dispensaries across the state, depending on the drop month to month. Check us out, and thanks for having me, man.
Final question for you. Tell me a Tulsa local band or two that we may not have ever jammed in the show. I'm going to write them down. We're going to play them right after this.
Oh, hell yeah. Have you jammed When the Clock Strikes?
That does sound familiar, but I'm going to write it down anyway.
They're like what we just, CJ, our guitar player, produced them for a long time. And they're like, we describe it as Tony Hawk Pro Skater core. They're like pop punk, but they got like a lot, like a driving guitar and like crazy guitar solos, and they're super sick. There's another band called Ben Quad. They've kind of been taken off recently.
Spell the second one. Ben, like quad, like I'm riding a quad.
QUAD, yeah, BENQUEAD.
Okay.
Just like it sounds. And then of course there's Cliff Diver. I don't know if you've played them, but they're fucking great. They've been doing some like really big stuff. They put out a new album recently called Bird Watching. And they're on Side One Dummy, and they just played a huge show at Kane's Ballroom here in Tulsa last week. They're really like taking off. They're a really big band. Check them out.
I'm gonna check out all three right after this. So When the Clock Strikes, Ben Quad, and Cliff Diver. Yeah,
you can't go wrong with any of them.
You rule, brother. I appreciate it. Ladies and gentlemen, Michael Skaggs, Outline in Color!
Yeah, hell yeah!
Have a most awesome day, dude. Thank you so much.
You too, bro.
I appreciate you.